beautiful friends, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Anna and today I'm going to show you how to make croquetas de jamon or Cuban style ham croquettes. These are not to be confused with Spanish style croquettes. I mean, they're pretty similar, but the concept is similar, but they're fairly different in the sense that the Cuban ones are a little more seasoned and they are a little bit drier. The Spanish style croquettes are a bit, you could say, creamier. I think that would be the best way to describe it, and they are not as seasoned as the Cuban ones, but obviously I'm Cuban, so these are the ones I grew up eating. I absolutely adore both kinds, so eventually I will share with you how to make the Spanish style croquettes, but these are the ones that we're making today. So the ingredients, very simple. Let me show you what they are. So you're going to need some cubed ham. This is cooked ham. A little bit of flour, some milk, about 1/4 of an onion, salt, and here I have some fresh parsley already chopped. You can use dry if you want. I have paprika, pepper, and some sazon goya. And you're also going to need just a pinch of nutmeg. This is what the sazon goya looks like. I buy the one, well, I buy different kinds, but the one I'm using today is with culantro and achiote, which is culantro and annatto. But whichever one you kind of have, it's fine. So I have a medium skillet. I'm going to turn that to medium heat. When it comes to croquetas, you want everything to be very, very finely chopped. That's why I personally like to do mine in just a minute chopper. It just makes everything so much easier and quicker. So I'm going to cut my onion into smaller pieces just so I can, well, just so the little chopper can chop a lot better. So I'm going to pause until it's very, very finely chopped. Okay, this looks good. So I'm going to add a very small drizzle of oil. You don't want a lot. And we are going to cook the onions so they're not super raw. You want to stir it so everything cooks evenly. Remember, this is on medium heat, so I'm going to give that just about 1 or 2 minutes. I'm going to chop my ham in the same little chopper. You don't need to clean it or anything. Okay, let's get everything in here. Okay, this looks good. I want it very, very finely minced. The onions are looking great. So I'm going to add the ham. Look how small it is. This is exactly how you want it. Here comes the other half. Okay, now you want to mix. Okay, this looks great. And now I'm going to let this cook just for about, I would say like 1 or 2 more minutes. I think I am going to add a touch more of oil because it does need a tiny bit of oil, not too much, just a little drizzle. While the ham is cooking with the onions, I went ahead and microwaved my milk just for about 30 seconds. I'm going to mix it with the nutmeg. So I'm just going to whisk until it's nicely incorporated. Now it's time to season the ham. So I'm going to go ahead and add pretty much all of the seasoning. So you're going to add parsley, mix that in. Okay, looks good. Now we're going to add the flour. Now, this is going to get really crumbly, but don't worry because we're gonna make it really nice and creamy. Make sure all of the ham is nicely incorporated with the flour, and hopefully by the end of this I will have enough ham in the pan, because I don't know if you noticed, but I have ham just going everywhere. So be a little more patient than me. After the ham cooks for about a minute, you're gonna have something that looks kind of like this. So it's time to start adding our milk. I like to add it a little bit at a time, just so we don't have like huge clumps. Okay, I am going to lower the heat to medium-low just because it's a little too high. The milk has been nicely incorporated, so you want something that looks kind of like this. Now, this is the time where I taste it and I see if it needs a little more salt, and yes, it does. So I'm going to add just a sprinkling of salt. I'm going to mix this in, and then I'm going to taste it once again. As you can see, I have a dish here, and that is because we have to transfer our mixture. We have to let it cool before we actually get to form our croquetas. I like to even it out so it cools a little bit faster. This is gonna take about, I would say, 30 to 40 minutes to cool. I am going to cover it with plastic wrap. You want the plastic wrap to actually touch the dough so it doesn't form like a weird crust or anything. So I'm going to let this cool, and I'll be right back to show you the ingredients that you're going to need for the breading, and we get to fry. I am back with my cooled croqueta mixture. Now this is going to be very easy to handle because it's pretty much cooled completely. I also have my breading station, and for that you're going to need some all-purpose flour, a little bit of breadcrumbs. I personally love to use a combination of panko breadcrumbs with regular breadcrumbs. You want plain regular breadcrumbs and panko. I just find that it gives me the best texture, but normally you will use just plain regular breadcrumbs. And I also have an egg beaten. You're going to need a skillet with some neutral oil such as canola, vegetable, whatever you have. I have a plate lined with paper towel because that's where we're going to drain it. I also have a baking sheet with some parchment paper. You can use paper towel if you wish. So I am going to start preheating my oven because you need it, my oil, because we need it pretty hot, just kind of like deep frying oil, temperature about 375. I like to measure my croquetas with a cookie scoop. I find that with this, I get them all the same size and they all cook evenly. So you want to grab, I don't have a lot of space, but hey, that's not going to stop me from making delicious food, and it shouldn't stop you either. So I know that you can't see what I'm doing with the croqueta dough, so you just want to grab some. You want to scoop it onto your hand, and you want to make it into a little log. You can make them as small or as big as you like. So you want to roll, and then you want to kind of press down on the sides just like this to make a little log. So one scoop is gonna give you what we call the party size croqueta, which are tiny little croquetas like this. So you want to pass it through the flour just very lightly. You want to get rid of all the excess flour. We're gonna pass it through the egg just like that. You want to coat it very well in the egg, and then into the breadcrumbs like this. You want to make sure that they're nicely coated. And the best thing about these croquetas is that you can actually freeze them. You can freeze them at this stage, and when you're ready to fry them, you can fry them for frozen, and that's what I like to do. So that's that. If you want to make them bigger, same thing. The only thing is that you're gonna get 2 scoops of your mixture, and you're gonna have more of a regular size croqueta, I would say, or at least usually this is the size that I find at my favorite bakery here in Miami. So let's do one more together. We roll them into a little log, kind of like this. You press the sides. It doesn't have to be too perfect either. Okay, this one looks pretty good. Now we've rolled them in the flour. Okay, then into the egg. I like to use a fork, that way I don't get my hands super dirty. And into the breadcrumbs. I like to press the breadcrumbs very lightly into the actual croqueta. And here is your final result. The croqueticas are all ready. The oil is nice and hot, so very carefully we're going to start adding them to the oil. Make sure you don't burn yourself. Use your spatula if you need to. And I like to add, let's say, I can do about six of the little ones. So you want them to get really crispy. It should take about, I would say, like 2 to 3 minutes depending on the size. These are really nice and golden, exactly how we want them. So you want to transfer them to your plate. Look at that beautiful color. I personally like to season mine with a tiny pinch of salt as soon as they come out. Just the smallest pinch. Kind of shake them a little bit and then I serve them. So I have a little plate with some lime wedges because you need to squeeze some lime juice on top of them. That's what makes them absolutely delicious. And this is our final result. You obviously need some saltine crackers, which I don't have at the moment, but you squeeze a little bit of lime juice over it. I'm going to show you the inside. Ooh, look how delicious. It's piping hot, as you can probably see, but look how creamy the inside is. They're so hard, but they're absolutely perfect. So good. So yummy. They're nice and creamy inside. They have a beautiful ham flavor. Really nice and crispy. So this is it. This is how you make traditional delicious Cuban croquetas. They're so nice. You get a lot of the ham flavor. They're nice and creamy, golden and crispy on the outside. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Give me a thumbs up if you do. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.